Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time of the week, Wednesday night, and we are racing once again in the GTRC Polyphony Digital Trophy. Round 5 of 8, I believe. Should really figure this out. One of these seasons I will know how many races we're doing in the season. But we're back here for the first time in, I think first time in GTRC history, we are racing at Deep Forest Reverse. We've raced at Deep Forest before. Now we're racing at the reverse layout of the track we've gotten used to a certain extent, I think it's fair to say. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's a bit of a hit and miss track, Deep Forest Reverse. Certainly the question always is, what's the point in doing it in reverse when it's way better the normal way around? But hey-ho, it's what we're doing. And it's very difficult to say who's going to be quick here, what car's going to be fast, because the BOP, or the current BOP, has, while it's slowed everything down, it has brought everything close together. So this grid right now is possibly one of the most competitive we've had in a while. It's a shame, however, we only have 9 cars in the grid, but one of those 9, as you can see in 8th at the moment on the left-hand side, is Jolt Langstadler. He's made his return. Obviously leaving at the end of last season. He's now back. That was his last ever race in GTRC, and now he's back. But he is replacing the departing Sam Siltler, which, good riddance, to be completely honest, good riddance. But we're back with Jolt Langstadler on the grid, which is a big improvement. But for now, we'll watch on board with Adam Hans, who takes his car up through the first couple of corners and into the first proper corner, which is the braking zone of this hairpin. Oh, and he's gotten all over those sausage curves on the inside, and I'm not sure if that's the quickest route around that corner. It seems to have worked out for him. Now coming down what is the back straight. It's the back straight for both layouts, but coming down the back straight very early on in the lap. All the straights are quite early in the technical section, it's at the end of the lap. It's hard braking on the curve on the left-hand side. You want to get it turned in early and towards the bridge, which he's done so very well there, and then it's back up the hill on this one. Is there going to be a lift? There is a little bit of a lift coming up the hill. He cuts that corner nicely. Shouldn't get penalised for that. It's braking the moment you come into that tunnel. And just trying to manage the throttle there. He hasn't done a great job of that, but you just need to manage the throttle there. Make sure you don't slide out like he did there. And then Hans now coming through the final section of the circuit, and then it's the final corner now. You want to get kind of a middle to late apex for this one. Maximise the exit, because this is a very long straight you're coming up to now. And I'm not sure this lap will set the world alight, but it is the first lap we're having, and already it's been beaten by Kabinski. It's been beaten by half of the grid so far. So that lap was a 27.1, but currently the fastest is a 26.6. 0.01 ahead of Luke Clark in the same car. That's 26.6 as well for him. And then they are 2.5 tenths ahead of Will Sutters in third. So quite a close start for qualifying. A very interesting thing to point out as well is in 5th of Ruben Threjo. He does not have a teammate tonight, so we're really lacking on numbers, but what we're lacking in numbers should be made up for in good racecraft tonight. Fingers crossed. I'm expecting a good race tonight, or good 3 races, should I say. But, well, not much is going on, and we're just watching the current provisional pole sitter, Che Easton, there. He's on his second lap qualifying. We will look at the standings, if I can find, there we go, PT standings. So the standings are as follows, as Will Sutters led out of Brands Hatch with 193 points, just ahead of the man we're watching right now, Che Easton, 185 points for him. 11 points behind that is Luke Clark, who's currently the provisional P2 sitter, and then there's quite a smaller gap behind that in Jake Witchell and Dominic Kabinski just following behind them, and then the gap gets bigger as we get to the likes of Steinman de Hart and Matty. But yeah, the top 3 at the moment in the championship are currently the top 3 in qualifying, except the order is completely jumbled because Will Sutters is your championship leader. Che Easton is the man trying to overhaul that lead. Sutters, as you can see, has a penalty there. Stein has improved. But we're on to the Teams Championship because that's also important. The Teams Championship is currently dominated by Team Spirit with 320 points. Project 1 is not too far behind with 303 points, and then it's Team Brown on 295, LCR 283, and 515 246. Closely followed by Halex and Nova, kind of a bit in no man's land at the moment with 102 points. That is how both championships are. And with Will Sutters not looking like he's going to get any higher than third at the moment, if he can stay in that position, this is very good for Luke Clark and Che Easton, who have a serious chance at going for the championship this season. So we're all on the same bit of track together right now. Also, Che Easton and Luke Clark will be having to use 2 sets of mediums tonight. So instead of just using the 1 race where you're on the medium tyres, you now have to do 2 races on the medium tyres. And that is simply because they were our race winners last week. Che Easton taking home 2 wins and Luke Clark taking home 1. Could they get any more tonight? Cameron Hill goes for a big improvement up into P6, still behind the McLaren of Thorejo. We're still watching this top 3 because they are the closest cars on track, and this is the battle for pole, I reckon, unless Dominic Kubinski can pull something out of the bag. But as I was saying a second ago, the BOP has really brought all of the cars together because the top 5 has 4 different cars in it. There's 2 GTRs, and the 2 GTRs have just swapped positions. I think Che Easton is aborting that lap here, but Luke Clark is still going on his lap. Will Sutters being carried along behind him, but Sutters has a penalty, so Luke Clark, if he can make an improvement, he will not be challenged by Will Sutters this time round. It's not going to be improvement. 2 tenths down for Luke Clark. So now the order has changed slightly, and this train is now following with Will Sutters in the middle, Che Easton at the rear. And what they're doing here, you think that in qualifying you might want to give each other a bit of room. Yes and no. When these 3 drivers are all as quick as each other, it kind of makes quite a bit of sense for them all to group up and give each other slipstream. Hit one of the corners, and that's all he will need to take that pole position. So, what a story that is. Going from teammates to rivals. But Easton's still going very well on this lap by the looks of it. No silly little mistakes. It looks like that car is on rails, and he is still improving, but it's not enough, I don't think, or not big enough improvement. Luke Clark, however, has got a penalty up ahead, another former teammate of Che Easton. And Luke Clark has returned to the pits, not giving any advantage to Easton down this straight. But Easton goes for that late apex, as I was saying, could work, and he's dabbling on the grass a little bit on the exit. Is it going to be enough to improve his lap time? Not quite, 1.5 tenths down. And now I think this is too late for Luke Clark to make an improvement, but can Will Sutters make an improvement, as he is on a fast lap now? Hill has improved up to, or he was in 6th anyway, but he's improved his lap time. But we're currently watching Sutters, who may have a chance to improve his lap and hopefully snatch away pole position. But judging from that first corner, it's not a great start to the lap. We'll see as he crosses the first sector line, what is it going to be? Sutters now, he is currently matching his personal best, which I don't think is quite good enough. He's going to have to find a lot of time in this final sector, or final 2 sectors. And as we know, the Nissan has a pretty big advantage when it comes to cornering speed. However, that Honda, or the Honda's biggest advantage is its traction. So at these lower speed corners, he might be able to control the throttle a lot easier, get better exits. Oh, but it's not working out for Will Sutters this time round. Only 1.7 tenths up. I don't think this is going to be pole position for Will Sutters. Ruben Thorejo, though, with the last second improvement, snatches away 3rd place from Will Sutters, and that is something that Sutters, I don't think, could take back. He's way too far back. Dominic Kubinski, though, has just taken that from Sutters. It's all fallen apart for Sutters, as 2 cars have jumped him at the line, and I don't think that's improvement, no. So your top 3 is Che Easton in pole position. Luke Clark, who's confident enough, he took home that P2, wasn't enough for pole position in the end, but Luke Clark came home at P2. Dominic Kabinski, an impressive lap at the end, P3 for the pole, and this is wonderful for his hopes for the title. He's an outside chance, but he has a chance. Ruben Thorejo in P4 and Will Sutters in P5. So not the qualifying that the reigning champion... Oh, the reigning champion? Oh, sorry. No, not the qualifying that the championship leader would have wanted. But still room for improvement in the race. And who are we waiting for? Oh no, we're not waiting for anyone. We are waiting for the session to end simply because Luke Clark is in the pit lane. But pretty close and interesting qualifying session. In the end, it was settled before the session really even started. First lap of qualifying, and it was Che Easton who set the provisional pole. Most people's laps were set pretty early on in the session. And in the end, it was Easton who took pole position. Another pole position under his belt. Also, we didn't see much of him in that qualifying session, but the GTRC returnee, Jolt Langstadler, unfortunately could only muster a last place, but it was better than what Suss's previous teammate would have been able to do. Where's half the grid gone? I know, Noah. I know, it's a poor week. We had much better last week, but this week it's been a struggle. We have Jake Witchell. He's currently off at the moment for reasons. And then Loogie, God knows. God knows, to be honest, but to be fair, this is not the most popular track. Still, the fight at the top is as close as ever, and the main championship contenders are here, which is really what matters. I don't know why it says Super's in first, because he's not. Can we get a better camera angle? We can. So here is your starting grid. We have 5 red lights out now. And they're away and we're ready to go, and already you see the start from the Team Brown McLaren flying up close to the GTRs, and we're going to be going 3 wide into the first kink of the first couple of corners, and Che Easton got a horrible start there. It's Luke Clark who now leads out this race, going into the first major braking zone. Still Luke Clark. Is there going to be carnage? They all keep it very clean going into here, and there's a very nice start from both of the Project 1 cars by the looks of it. Steinmad to Hart making lots of ground up at the beginning of that one, already caught up to his teammate, but Ruben Thorejo is currently leading this one, as you'd expect from that McLaren. It's kind of one to bet on, I think it's fair to say. It's got decent odds. Oh, someone going very deep in the background. That was one of the Project 1 cars. I believe that was Steinmad to Hart. Stein missing out massively on that one as he has gone back to the back of the grid now. Still, oh, was there contact there? Contact there between Ruben Thorejo and Luke Clark? I think there was, because Luke has now let him back through, but Thorejo's picked up a 1-second penalty. And that is catastrophic for Ruben Thorejo, really, because his game plan in that McLaren is to get ahead early and just keep the grid behind him. That, I think, is game over, though, for Ruben Thorejo. What a shame. Still, oh my word, Adam Hands almost pushing off Will Sutters there in the background. It's not been a great start for Sutters either, but he is still in 6th, which is better than what he was jokingly expecting before this. 3 wide once again on the straight as both of the Team Spirit GTRs pull ahead of the Project 1 Supra. And now we're certainly going 2 wide into the first corner once again. Hard on the brakes, and oh my word, it is terrifying watching cars go into that corner. Such a heavy braking zone, such a tight corner. So Ruben Thorejo has served his 1-second penalty. Luke Clark is far out in the lead, and now Adam Hands has made pretty quick work of him. So Adam Hands making a very decent start to the race. I think it's fair to say, what did he start, 7th or 8th? Did Adam Hands. He's now up into 2nd. So a very nice job from currently the number 2 driver in the standings for Team Spirit. Starting on the medium tyre, just as his teammate has done. Adam does not need to use 2 mediums. Interestingly, Luke Clark has used his 1 set of softs tonight in this race. So expect Luke to kind of disappear off into the distance. I don't really think anyone's going to compete much with Luke tonight. Or in this race, should I say. Because, you know, with those soft tyres and a lot of grid on the mediums, there's not really any hope for him. So good strategy call from Luke Clark, I think it's fair to say. He probably realises at this point the majority of the grid every week uses the mediums in their first race. And, I mean, look at that gap already forming from that tyre advantage and certainly pace advantage. You know, he is, well, according to that qualifying session, he was the 2nd fastest guy on the grid. But now Ruben Thorejo takes back P2. He's also on the soft tyres. Whether that is enough to catch up to Luke Clark, I'm not too sure. Because the Nissan has quite a decent pace advantage around this circuit. And Adam Hans is already going for the overtake back for P2. And I don't think Ruben Thorejo saw that one happening. And he was there at the apex, side by side. But there was a tiny bit of door tapping there. And still side by side. And Ruben Thorejo backs out of that one. But now he has Che Easton to give him company already. And he's in a bit of a Nissan GTR sandwich. Maybe he does have more pace than these 2 GTRs. Maybe not so the one at the front. But Ruben on the soft tyres, it does not want to be in between 2 medium runners. Just slow him down completely. But he's lost out on that one, and he's already being put under a bit of pressure from Che Easton. Che Easton also defending from Dominic Kubinski. And Hans is going very defensive down the start-finish straight, pushing himself all the way to the pit wall. Now side by side, coming up the hill, giving plenty of room, these 2. And side by side coming into turn 1, and it looks like Adam Hans is the one who breaks the latest. Ruben Thorejo had to lift a little bit at that kink, and maybe that's given a chance for Che Easton to sneak his nose in. He did momentarily sneak his nose in, but Che Easton had to back out at the last second there. So Ruben got spun out a little bit from that move. And this is looking very bad for the Spaniard. He's under heavy, heavy pressure this time round from Che Easton. Easton who's pushing him along this straight. And maybe that was tactical as he can get ahead of his teammate. But I think Thorejo's outbraked himself there. Thorejo outbraked himself and he's lost out on that position completely. And now it is Che Easton who is the lead of this train. Dominic Kubinski just behind. Will Sutters behind that. And Adam Hans missed out massively on that one too. All of them braking so late in the background behind them. And maybe this is Easton's chance to break away a little bit as Hans and Sutters are going side by side. Hans doing the best job he can do as a teammate, helping his teammate up ahead in the Drivers' Championship any chance he can get. But what a hectic start to this race it has been. We're getting on to lap 5 now, not long left to go. I'm not sure who that is at the back of the grid. Oh, it's Hans. Did Adam Hans get himself involved in an incident with Will Sutters? I think he might have done. I seriously think there might have been an incident between himself and Sutters there. But I think I did miss it on stream. If it was on stream, someone's watching, please let me know what happened. But I personally missed that one. But the fight for P2 is slowly disappearing. It's now becoming a fight for P3. Dominic Kubinski is the man in P3 at the moment. He just has to hold off Will Sutters. Sutters is on the soft tyre. Interesting, Sutters on the soft tyre. We haven't seen too much of Sutters at the moment. He has the tyre advantage on the cars around him. Sutters, by the way, gets 2 chances on the soft tyre. Did not win a race last season, whereas the 2 cars ahead of him did. So Luke Clark is on his only set of softs. Meanwhile, Dominic Kubinski is on his only set of mediums. As he will obviously use the mediums again, but I doubt it. I think Sutters might just pull away from Kubinski here. Apologies, I just got distracted by my phone there, but we are still going, and Ruben Thorejao is trying to make the overtake on Dominic Kubinski here. Coming side by side down the second straight. And that McLaren has a decent pace advantage on Dominic Kubinski here. Certainly in terms of straight line speed. And also tyre advantage. Now Kubinski drops back down to 5th. So that battle for 3rd for Kubinski is slowly starting to fall out of his grasp. In the background, though, I'd just like to point out, former teammates have been having their own little battle here. Former teammates for both Project One and Team Spirit. And now one has stuck with the Project One team and the other has gone to 515 Motorsports. Result Langstadler making his GTRC return, and he's up in 7th at the moment, which is an improvement from his qualifying position. Can this former teammate battle go very well for either of them? Seems like not much is happening between these two, so we will just hop up ahead to where the more interesting battle's going on, as Kubinski did manage to get back ahead of Thorejao, and Thorejao is doing his best now to pull ahead where his car has the best advantage, and that is on this start-finish straight. They come up the hill, and Thorejao lifting off at the final kink, parking on the apex, but it's not enough to keep Kubinski completely behind. And Sutters up front had a penalty in his fight against Che Easton there, and maybe Sutters might get drawn back in this battle, and it looks like that is what's going to happen as Ruben Thorejao pulls up alongside Will Sutters. Sutters saw that one coming, defended the inside, but it was not enough. Sutters has to go for the late dive on Thorejao, and he has done it very well there. But Thorejao, oh my word, spinning in the background from someone. Oh, it was Langstadler. Scholt Langstadler had a spin in the background in that battle with his former teammate, and it hasn't ended well. So he was having a decent return to GTRC, but we can only hope for better in race 2. We'll look up at the front. We'll give Luke Clark some respect, because he is controlling this race very well. He's driving a decent race. I mean, look at their lap times. They're pretty good. They are pretty decent lap times from Luke Clark. But he's doing a good job up front. And this is his only chance to use the soft tyres, and he's making the best use of it. And this is very valuable for his chance at the championship. Chance at glory for Luke Clark. Never has he won a championship. Oh. I don't think he has. He's won the Constructors before. LCR had been Constructors champion in the last season of DTM. But Luke Clark this season has the chance to become Drivers' Champion for, I believe, the first time. But so does Dominic Kubinski, so does Che Easton. Them two also would be first-time winners of the Drivers' Championship if they pull it off. So we are getting into the latter half of the season now, and things are looking spicy, especially for this man we're watching right now. His lead is not as strong as it has been in the past, certainly in previous seasons. Sutters is on a decent lap here. So Sutters finally finding the pace in the car. Maybe when the fuel tank starts to get a bit emptier, that Honda really comes to life. It certainly appears that way. And is that a new fastest lap for Sutters? It is. New fastest lap of the race for Will Sutters, a 27 dead, which is not too far off what they were doing in qualifying, to be fair, only a couple tenths. So Sutters is on some decent pace at the moment. Certainly Che Easton will be looking more in his rearview mirror than out of his front window, you have to say. His windscreen, should I say. I think Sutters maybe didn't get the best exit out there, and Che Easton very strategically giving the slipstream to Ruben Thorejao that time round, saying, come on Ruben, you can work with me, we can get this podium together. Is Ruben going to stay post? He is. So maybe Che Easton has inadvertently picked up his own little rear gunner in Ruben Thorejao. So I think Easton prefers to have the slightly slower Thorejao behind him than the very fast Will Sutters. Either way, though, having two soft tyre runners behind you is certainly not a good feeling. Che Easton must be feeling the pressure at this point right now. All he needs to hope for, though, is that the Team Brown car, Ruben Thorrejo, and the 515 car of Will Sutters, they just squabble a little bit. That's all he needs to hope for. Because if that happens, Easton might be able to pull out a big enough gap. But I think already on this start-finish straight, this could be bad news for Che Easton, as Thorrejo is all over the back of him, using that slipstream. I don't think he's going to get the move. I don't think he's going to get the move done before turn one. Maybe with a little bit of bravery and a little bit of luck, can Thorrejo go for it in turn one? He doesn't. Thorrejo, a very conservative driver, doesn't go for the bold moves like that. But that's just lined himself up for a very nice overtake down this back straight into the corner following the back straight. He's pushing Easton along though. Thorrejo may be thinking, let's break away from Sutters before we battle. It's not a bad idea. It's very much not a bad idea to work with the car in front of you, to give yourself a little bit of a gap, then battle. Next lap is the final lap, and maybe Thorrejo is consciously thinking of that. He knows that if he can only give Sutters a lap to really do anything about these two battling, then that gives them both more of a chance to both be on the podium. Because surely Thorrejo's just not going to stay post behind him, surely. Oh, Sutters looking down the inside there. He went for that apex very, very early. I thought he was going to go for a late move there. But we're just coming down the start-finish line for the final time, or second to last time in this race. And Thorrejo is attached to the rear end of Che Easton, looking for any opportunity he can find to make that move. He's got to go for it. He's got to go for it. Is he going for it? Oh, Easton's defended that very well. Easton did an extremely good job defending that one. Just placed his car slightly off the racing line. It really dissuaded Thorrejo from going for it. And still Thorrejo is pushing Easton down the start-finish straight, or the back straight, should I say. Easton going very defensive, almost pushing Thorrejo into the wall, but Thorrejo has found a gap. Easton did not defend that one quite as well as he did for turn one, and can Thorrejo go for the move? Still side by side, coming out of the corner now, and back up the hill. There is no way Easton holds around the outside. Oh, he's trying though, and there's contact between Easton and Thorrejo, and Easton jumps the corner, but Thorrejo pulls ahead. And Easton looks like he's just lost out on P2, but will he lose out on P3 as well? As Thorrejo is starting to pull away with the tyre advantage. Easton, though, has just got a very nice exit out of that corner. Easton has to go defensive, but Sutters goes for the move in the final corner, and up front we're just going to see Luke Clark is the race winner. In the background here, Sutters has just taken Easton on the exit there. Thorrejo comes home in P2, and then it's side by side over the line. It is Will Sutters who takes home the final podium position, finishing on the exact same millisecond as Che Easton, but he was just ahead. The timing sheet says they finished at the exact same time. Dominic Gabinski finished P5, Simon Tahart, his teammate, was P6, Hill P7, Hans P8, and Langstadler in P9. But wow, what a finish between Sutters and Easton. The two championship contenders, the two who look the strongest for the championship, but certainly who will look very strong tonight, is this man on our screen right now, Luke Clark, after a very nice race win there. Controlled it like it was easy. But what a finish to a race that was. The battle for the final position on the podium, and it was Will Sutters who beat him by 1/1000th of a second. Crazy end to it all. Looked like Easton had the drag, or had the chance to out-drag race him to the finish line. Had the line been 10 metres further along, and Easton would have won that one, but that is all hypotheticals at the end of the day, and that could be championship deciding, that overtake there for Will Sutters. Very important move with how close this championship could end up being in 2 or 3 weeks' time. That could be the moment that's just won Will Sutters his second Polyphony Digital Trophy. Don't count Easton out yet. It is a drop in points to Will Sutters, but someone who's gained massively is Luke Clark, who's 2 positions ahead of him. So if anything, things have just gotten a little bit more interesting. We are going to have a little bit of a break while we wait for the next race, which will be the first reverse grid and the standing start reverse grid, where it will be Jolt Langstadler on pole position, followed by Adam Hans. And screen's gone black, which means we are ready to get away for race 2. Jolt Langstadler lines up in pole position in the 515 Honda NSX, just ahead of the Team Spirit GTR of Adam Hans, and that it is Hill in the Nova Motorsports NSX, followed by Steinman de Hart in the Project 1 Supra, as we have 5 red lights. And we are away, and it looks like Langstadler has already jumped the start. What a disappointing start for Langstadler. So it is Adam Hans who leads off at the start here. Kind of to be expected, but not. Team Spirit versus Project 1. And it is filled with a large Nissan GTR. He goes defensive, and Adam Hans can't really do anything about it. Still, Dominic Kubinski leads this race. And 2 Team Spirit cars are in a Toyota sandwich. So obviously the runners who use double mediums are using said double mediums simply because they won a race in the week prior. It's kind of like our version of a success ballast, as you saw back in the olden days of JGTC and Super GT. Still, Dominic Kubinski leads this one out. Adam Hans, though, is making pretty decent gains through these corners. Looks like he has a little bit more pace. I think the GTR has more downforce, or more in the way of downforce, than the Supra. Supra, though, holding strong at the front, looking for a second win of the season. Adam Hans looking for his first win of the season, and his first win in 2 seasons. It would be for Adam. Almost got that first win in 2 seasons at Fuji, but just lost out on the line to Ruben Thorrejo. Can he still get it? Last time he won a race, he was in the exact same car, not the Team Spirit GTR, he was in his own GTR. This was before the introduction of the Team's Championship to the PDT. But he's just gone fastest of everyone on that second lap of the race. And he is closing in on the pole in front of him. His teammate behind is doing a nice job backing up the pack behind him. There was contact there between Van der Hart and Thorrejo, and Van der Hart lets Thorrejo back through. He could have taken that position, but he lets him back through. Fair driving between the two. and still the order stays the same. And this is looking very reminiscent of what we saw in the last race for Che Easton. Except this time he's holding off third place instead of second. Up front though, battle for first is brewing. And Adam Hans can smell it. Oh, can he? 1 second penalty for Adam Hans. I spoke too soon just as I jumped to him and I'd start bigging him up. Oh dear. And this is not a good sign for Adam Hans because his pace looks so similar to that of Dominik Kubinski, and I don't think he will be able to magically find more pace out of nowhere to catch back up to Kubinski after serving this penalty. I think he'll stay ahead of his teammate though, but what a shame. What a shame. You can only hope for a mistake now on Kubinski's end, or for Kubinski to start dropping off on pace. But game over, I think it's fair to say, for Adam Hans. In the background as well, Steinman to Hart with a 1 second penalty, possibly made the same mistake as Hans. And that's super unlucky for both of them. Oh, round in the background, we just saw that, Luke Clark. I'm not sure if there was contact there or whether he just got caught a little bit on the exit with the accelerator, but he is round and out. And that, you know, talking about someone who's out of this one, that is Luke Clark. Adam Hans, though, did a decent job to stay ahead of his teammate following the penalty, and now they are actually going side by side, but Adam Hans should stay ahead here. I doubt Easton will go for this one. Hans has the tyre advantage. He's probably being told by his teammate, look, just calm down, we can do this. And now Hans just needs to get into a rhythm a little bit more. Once he gets back into the flow, he should be able to set some decent laps and maybe make a charge back up to the front. It's when you lose as much as Adam Hans did, it's very difficult to gain it back if you're trying to gain on the race leader. But say in the case of Steinman to Hart, because all of the cars around him are battling anyway, he should be able to gain that back. It's not far-fetched to say he'll gain that back, because all of the cars around him are going to be battling. But for Hans, he has to catch up to one guy all by himself who is currently setting the best lap times he possibly can do, and he's got nothing to distract him. So it's a tall mountain to climb for Adam Hans. Che Easton, though, doing a very mighty good job behind him, holding off that P3. Easton looking for a podium tonight. Snatched from one just at the line in the last race, and looks like he's going to be snatched from one right about now by Ruben Thorejos as he goes down the inside. Easton, though, with the switchback, can he make it stick? Not quite. Thorejos goes back up the hill and takes that lead for P3. And I think the chances for a podium for Easton slowly starting to disappear now. Thorejos in front of him. As good as Easton's pace has been tonight, him on the medium tyres is just not as strong as anyone else on the soft tyres, and it's showing. Will Satters is also on his set of mediums, his one set of mediums. Satters is kind of matching Easton's pace, I think it's fair to say. He's a little bit quicker than Easton. Holding that fifth gear as long as possible for Che Easton. Maybe he should have held it a little bit longer. These cars, they lose a lot of momentum coming up that hill. It's a very steep hill, and I just don't think the gearing is set up properly for said hill. Speaking of hill, how's he doing? God, I wanted to say that one for a while. Something I didn't clock onto at in the last race was at Brands Hatch. We have a driver called Hill. He kept crashing at Paddock Hill Bend, and there was also a spin from him at, I believe, Hill, which is another corner on the circuit called Hill. So I don't know why it's taken till this week for me to make a joke about his name. I'm very sorry. Should have done it last week, but Langstadler, who does the memes every single week, picked up on it pretty quickly and named all of the corners. Paddock Hill Bend, Hill spins corner, Hill off into the gravel. You get the picture. It's quite a funny meme. Top work. I've got to shout out the super memes. I know that, you know, they're never shown on stream, but if you're in the Discord, you know the super memes are funny. The new fastest lap of the race for Dominic Gavinsky, and Gavinsky is flying out by himself up front, and he's doing what I thought Easton should have been doing up that hill, is just sticking it in 5 gear and leaving it there, really. Maybe the GTR's power band is a little bit different to the Supra. Maybe there's more power in the lower revs. I don't know. I don't drive these cars anymore. It's been such a long time since I've driven these cars on this game that so much has changed. I cannot tell you anymore. Adam Hans in the background, though, does have a penalty. And yeah, it's gone from bad to worse for Adam. This has not been his race. It looked like at the start he was doing a very nice job. He did a nice job, certainly, of catching the car there, but it's not to be, and he's cut that one really close. I don't think it's going to be for Adam. 1.5-second penalty. He would have had a very nice race at this point if he can just stay on the podium. It's not been. It was a race that showed a lot of promise at the beginning, and since then it's just gone downhill, unfortunately. Get it? Hill, downhill. Do you get it? It wasn't really a joke, I just said hill, and I just thought, yeah, that guy. Jesus Christ. But I think Hill or Hans, fucking hell. Hans, when he serves his penalty, he will probably lose out every position up to Easton and Sutters, potentially 2 Sutters, but we'll see now as Hill. Hans, Jesus Christ. There we go, Hans serves his penalty, he loses out to Thorejo, and yeah, he's going to lose out to Sutters and Easton as well. Oh, he goes defensive against Sutters, and Sutters goes into the wall there, on my word. Never mind. Hans has said, you know what, I'm not losing out to Sutters. He went defensive. Sutters called his bluff. Maybe that's the wrong thing to do, because he just went into the wall there, Will Sutters. And that has cost him dearly, because he's now found himself in a bit of a fight between himself and Steinman to Hart. Steinman to Hart on the stronger tyre. Oh my word, what has happened there? All that has done has helped out Adam's teammate massively. I don't want to say that's strategic, because Adam was just holding his position, doing the best he can to hold that position. He didn't weave or jerk at the end, you know, at the last second. But I think Sutters wanted that inside, and Adam was already on that inside. Not seen that happen in GTRC for quite a while. There is a rule where when you're serving the penalty, you do have to pull off the racing line. I think it's fair to say that Adam Hans did pull off the racing line there. Now side by side coming up into the final kink. Both side by side still coming into the first corner, and Simon Tahar, I think, just about to pull off an overtake for P5, or is he? Will Sutters going for the switchback on the exit. And now side by side still coming into the tunnel. This is a lovely bit of racing from these two. Not two drivers we've seen battle all that much. I think it's fair to say Steinman to Hart, Will Sutters is not really a combo we've seen too much. And this is not happening because Sutters has lost pace. This is happening because Steiners has gotten so much better over the last couple of seasons. You know, you think back to several seasons ago, even the last season of WTCC, Steinman to Hart was never really a big name that you expect to be up there, but he is holding it with the big dogs now. He's doing a very nice job in this last kind of 2 or 3 seasons. He's been up there. Pretty sure he got 2 race wins in 2 seasons ago in concession. He's been solid for the past couple of seasons. He's really enjoyed this format, and it'll be interesting to see how he does with the next format, because if you're not aware, this is the last season we are running this format with these 90s JGTC cars. Next season will be in the late 2000s JGTC cars, so we're keeping the same thing, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Stein does. I think I think the race format is also changing. I don't want to, you know, leak anything if I'm not supposed to leak it. But I think the race format is changing. I'm not sure if we're carrying on doing these 3 sprint races next season, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. But up ahead, the 2 Team Spirit cars have overtaken Ruben Thoreyjo. I think Thoreyjo had a penalty, and now it's both Team Spirit GTRs on the podium. The quicker of the 2 is sitting behind the slower, doing a nice job to be a rear gunner. They're playing the team game now. You know, Easton earlier on in the race gave Hans the chance to go for that race win, and it hasn't worked out. So now Easton's saying, okay, Adam, just stick behind me and we can bring home 2 podium positions for the team. As we're coming on to the final lap now. Oh, Adam! Jeez. Adam Hans almost spinning out there, though. But Easton, it's again taking that. Oh, he's missed the apex completely there. And these 2 surely won't battle. I doubt they will battle. They have a big difference in the tyres, and they have different aims to get them both on the podium. Adam had this chance earlier on in the race. It's not worked out for him, unfortunately, but bringing home podium with his teammate would still be a decent way to end it off, I think it's fair to say. They are under a lot of pressure from Ruben Thoreyjo, though, and Adam actually had a very poor turn 1 there. Now Adam is going to be praying that the slipstream is enough to stay ahead of Ruben Thoreyjo. Easton going purple in sector 1 on the medium tyre. Pretty impressive. But Adam Hans going defensive against Ruben Thoreyjo, and again he's going to have that inside line, and Thoreyjo has to back out of that one. Thoreyjo is close enough to make an overtake down the inside of the final corner, and we're talking about crucial for the championship. This is also crucial. Big points that Dominik Kubinski needed to be that outside chance for the title. He is about to bring home his 2nd win of the season, and this is exactly what he needed. But Che Easton as well. So many positions between himself and Will Sutters. Dominik Kubinski brings home the win. 2nd time this season. Che Easton leads out a double podium for Team Spirit and gets huge points in the title. That will surely help him catch 2 Sutters in P6. Quite a lot. And as we were talking about Stein, P4 from him. Good job from the Dutchman. P5 for Thoreyjo. 7th for Hill and 8th for Langstadler. Yeah, hugely important for the title for both Kubinski and for Easton there. Clark, on the other hand, had a bit of a nightmare for his championship hopes. Unfortunate for him. Hill at the end with a 1-second penalty did not affect the final finishing position. But there is your final finishing position, and it was a Project 1 sandwich, as it was at the start of the race. 1 Project 1 car winning the race, 2 Team Spirit cars following on the podium, and the 4th car is the 2nd Project 1 car. Team Brown with a P5, which is a decent job from Ruben Thoreyjo. Not quite the highs of the last race, but still a very nice job from himself. And then Will Sutters with a P6, still holding firm and strong at the top of the standings, I think, but not as strong as it was. I think that first race where Will Sutters just about managed to pull ahead of Che Easton is what he needed, the advantage he needed. But P6 is not ideal for Sutters, but he has got his medium tyres out of the way. He will be on the softs for the final race, and he will be in the best position of all of the championship contenders to hopefully take home a race win in race 3. Yeah, what a race that was. We've had 2 really good races. I think this layout is providing better racing than certainly a lot of the drivers were expecting. It's going well. Dominik Kubinski with a 2nd win, though. Not what I had on my bingo card tonight, I'll be honest. I know how much practice he's done for this round, which is none. And I know how much practice some of the other drivers have done, which is some. So, a decent job from Kubinski this time round. Race win number 2. This time not a 1-2. But the battle for the constructors seems to be getting pretty spicy, judging by that race. It's all Team Spirit and Project One by the looks of it. 515 now with two competent drivers. Looks like they might be able to make a push for P3 in the standings. But with Jake Witchell back next week, it's going to be a challenge. And if Tyler Davison returns as well, LCR look to be the strongest team once again. Now, though, the strongest team is definitely between Project One or Team Spirit. I'd argue Team Spirit's a little bit stronger just based on how good Che Easton has been. You know, his decent form in the last couple of rounds. But I think Van der Hart does a much better job keeping up with Kabinski than Hans has been doing lately. Hans really has had some struggles with that car. He's not found it as easy to get used to the car that he used to be used to. So unfortunately, Adam Hans has not really had the best of seasons so far. But I mean, a result like what you just had, a P3, is a really nice motivation booster. Granted, it was a miss out on a P2 and potential win earlier on in the race, but that's nothing to say against Dominic Kabinski. Kabinski was just the faster driver out of the two, regardless. But here we are for the final time tonight, and it is the rolling start reverse grid race. It's Jolt Langstadler who once again leads us out in pole position. Hill in P2, Sutters P3. Sutters, surely you have to say, looks to be in the prime position for this one. 5 red lights and we are away. Langstadler, well, they all get a decent start, but someone who gets an even better start is Ruben Thorejo down in P4, and they're all on the softs at the front. They've all expended their medium tyres, their mandatory one-use mediums. And now Langstadler has to go defensive going into turn 1, and he is going defensive. I don't think Hill made contact with him. Oh my word. He made contact with him, pushed Langstadler slightly wide. Hill has now lost out on that one the most, but Langstadler is having to go side by side with Thorejo. Once teammates at McLaren back in season 1 of the PDT. Both of them going very strong at this track in the normal layout back in season 1. Still, Thorejo stuck strong in that McLaren. Langstadler switching to the Honda. And Langstadler just about pulls back ahead. Could this be a chance for a race win on his return? It's going to be a difficult one. It's certainly not straightforward for Langstadler. And there's contact in the background as Van der Hart and Luke Clark have had a collision. I think Luke Clark may have been the instigator of that one, as he's waiting for Stein. Unfortunate start for these two, following a decent race for Stein Van der Hart. It's not been a decent start for either of them. Side by side coming down the straight again. I'm sorry we missed that one. Langstadler holding the inside. That turns into the outside though. Thorejo does have to lift a lot more than everyone else at that corner, and Langstadler's gone wide. Langstadler's gone off. He's mistook how to take that corner, and he almost took out Thorejo on the rejoin. Not an intentional unsafe rejoin, but that one was pretty unsafe from Langstadler. Where else was he supposed to go though? But completely misjudged that corner, and now Che Easton looks to make the move for P2. And how has Easton already made his way up into P2? He's on his one and only set of softs now. He saved these all night just for this moment, and now he gets the chance to chase down Ruben Thorejo for the lead, also on the soft tyres. Has Ruben used the mediums tonight? I swear that Ruben's been on the softs for the entire evening. We might need a VAR check post-race, but I believe Ruben Thorejo has been on the soft tyres for all 3 of these races. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because that does not seem... Oh, it kind of does seem like something Ruben would do. He probably didn't realise. It's not something he would do intentionally, but it is something he would do without realising. Che Easton is using his opportunity he's waited all race for, and now he gets his chance to chase down for a race win. Salt Langsadler, though, is not fallen too far behind him following that overtake. Dominic Kaminski has a penalty in the background. Hill is under a lot of pressure from Will Sutters here. Hill opts for a much wider line through that hairpin. I don't think that is the optimal line, but he has gotten a nice exit. And certainly it does throw off Sutters' rhythm just behind him. Hill's not really had the best of nights tonight. He hasn't really had a great night whatsoever so far this season, but certainly last week his one lap pace was very, very, very good. He hasn't even had that tonight. Sutters with a penalty behind. It looked like he cut that one close. Yeah, Hill's not really had a superb evening of racing tonight. So a P4 would be better than nothing for the Brit. He's just under pressure from Will Sutters, and Sutters makes that move look easy. I don't think Hill was really going to fight that too hard, knowing that Sutters has a penalty. And Will Sutters just holds ahead. I don't think Hill's going to go for an overtake before the penalty line, which is the smart move for Hill. Ruben Threjo, though, is on some amazing pace. 27 dead for the McLaren driver. That's 3/10 ahead of Che Easton. Threjo doing a very nice job, but if he hasn't used his mediums, he will be disqualified for this race, which I'm hoping he has used his mediums, and I've just missed it. But I know for a fact I've spectated Threjo in all three of these races, and I don't remember him being on the medium tyre. I'm usually wrong. I'll be honest, I'm usually wrong. I've been wrong a lot in the past, and I hope I'm wrong for this one as Adam Hans goes round. He slides out of the exit. It's just collected by Hill there, and that is game over for Adam Hans. He's been having issues with that corner all night tonight. It's just getting the throttle down on the exit. It's such a difficult one, especially with the undulation, and it's not worked out for Adam. Still, the order is the same for first, second and third. Kaminski is now ahead of Sutters following Sutters' penalty. I don't think he's under much threat at the moment from Sutters. No one's really under threat from anyone at the moment. Kaminski and Sutters are the two closest on track. And there is a strategic thing in this championship which was kind of realised halfway through season 1 by Jake Ritchell, is that you just need to not win races. And Ruben Threjo is on some amazing pace right now, but I don't think that really bothers Che Easton too much after just using the mediums twice tonight. I'm sure he'll be glad to not use them twice next week, given the opportunity. But you have to give credit where credit's due. Che Easton has been on flying form for the past couple of rounds, and tonight has been no exception. Pole position, almost a P3 in race 1, just beaten at the line, and then P2 in the last race, and it looks like it might be a P2 again tonight. He's been superb tonight as Che Easton. And this is perhaps really one of his best opportunities to overtake Will Sutters in the title. He's gained a lot more points than Sutters so far this round, I believe. And if it stays this way with the current order on the grid right now, he might gain even more. And obviously I'm biased. Obviously I have biases to different drivers. I'm not even going to hide that. But I just want to see a close battle for the lead. And if anyone can catch up to Sutters, I think Easton has the best chance. And Easton is doing a very good job to show that he can do it. So I said last week, this is a new Che Easton. It's not the same Easton that spins every single week. He hasn't done that for a while. All he's been doing every single week is banging out fast laps in qualifying and just being all around quick. He's been like that for a while now, ever since he broke his finger or broke his wrist. I can't remember what it was. He was off for 2 weeks. And there's been no difference there, but someone who's doing a very nice job on his return to GTRC is this man right here, Zsolt Langstadler. He's gotten himself settled down in P3 and he's setting some pretty decent laps. Certainly laps that if he'd set in qualifying, he would have qualified much higher at the grid than he did. No complaints from Zsolt Langstadler whatsoever about this specific race right now. Ruben Thoreyjo, though, with a new fastest lap, a 26.8. Hello, Ruben. Where have you been hiding that one? What a lap from Ruben. That would have been a lap that, if he'd set that in qualifying, I'm pretty sure that would have been an improvement on his personal best. Ruben has found some pace out of nowhere, and he's doing a very nice job with it. Gap he's building to this man right here, Che Easton. Easton might find himself under a tiny bit of pressure from Zsolt Langstadler soon if he doesn't pick up his own pace, because Langstadler with a 27.2. Easton did have the 27 dead last lap. Langstadler is making improvements. And better late than never, I guess. A competitive super is one that everyone likes to see. Fan favourite, I think it's fair to say, Zsolt Langstadler. Will Sutters, though, has managed to pull ahead of Dominik Kubinski, and he is holding off that position well. Hopefully catch up to who's now his teammate. I don't think Kubinski's going to take that rolled over, though. He might try and make a move again for P4. But that is if he has the pace, which at the moment he does not. But I'm sure Kubinski could finish last place in this race right now, and he won't care too much. He got a win. He got a win tonight, and that's all that he will care about. Yeah, Easton is pulling out a lot more of a gap now to Langstadler. So maybe it was just a mistake from Easton on the last couple of laps, where he has genuinely pulled out the pace, because he's going purple in Sector 1. Which is an impressive sector to go purple against the McLaren. You know, that I believe that is where the McLaren has its biggest advantage, down those straights. So to go purple there is pretty good. Now Sutters is under a little bit more pressure from Kubinski. And I don't think Kubinski is going to let that one stand. He's got nothing to lose. He might as well fight for P4. His own former teammate ahead of Sutters. It seems like everyone's been teammates with everyone. Not really. It's mostly all of the Team Spirit drivers have all been teammates with each other at some point. And then Che Easton and Luke Clark have been teammates. Sutters has just about pulled into the slipstream of his teammate. That will help him a little bit upon defending Dominik Kubinski. Kubinski doesn't seem to be fazed by it whatsoever. He isn't going for the move here. Don't really have the chance. Kubinski is trying to find any opportunity he can to make that move, and Langstadler getting closer and closer to Sutters. Maybe paved drop-off, is it? It is a little bit of pace drop-off, yeah. Pace drop-off for Zsolt Langstadler. And Will Sutters just has more pace. This will be helping Sutters quite a bit. Even the comfort of knowing that your teammate can help out is, you know, it's mentally going to help you. Maybe he'll be wanting to get past. Sutters is not one who's known for working with his teammate. that was pretty much the whole reason why Che Easton made the switch to Team Spirit this season. It was, I can't remember what round it was. I think it was either High Speed Ring or something along those lines. It was around that part of the season where they were both on decent pace. Easton thought he was the better of the two, and Sutters would not work with him. So that's when Easton contacted me. It was around that point in the season, asking if he could make a switch. That's when we did make the switch. But speaking of making a switch, Langshadler has let Sutters through, is now defending against Kabinski. The team which nicknamed themselves the Balkan Destroyers, despite the fact that neither of them are from the Balkans. Hungary is not in the Balkans and Poland is certainly not in the Balkans. But they were the Balkan Destroyers. Langshadler going defensive once again, holding off Kabinski for one more corner. Fight for P4. Kabinski just about snuck up the inside that time round, and Langshadler just having to pull out of that one. And unfortunate, it would have been nice to see Langshadler get a podium on his return, but he's fought hard and he's fought well. Not enough this time round, unfortunately. Would have been nice. You don't always get what you want, but someone who is about to get who they or what they want is Ruben Thorejao, up in first, controlled the race, just like the other two race winners tonight. Just got out in front, and once you get out in front of this track, it's just so easy to control the race from that point on. And Ruben Thorejao has done exactly that with 26.8. Crazy good lap time. He's done it twice, bear in mind. Thorejao on some really nice pace tonight. And a win to cap it all off. Jake Witchell said to Ruben that he has to win tonight to keep Team Brown in the championship, to keep their morale high, and he's done exactly that. No one thought he could seriously do it. But Ruben Thorejao has proved everyone wrong and said, I can win this. And he'll be taking home his second win of the season. A very nice job for Ruben indeed. Doesn't need the help of his teammate. As he comes down into the final corner for the last time tonight, as Ruben Thorejao takes home the third race of the night. He takes home his second win of the season. Ruben Thorejao very happy about that one. It's a race win for Ruben Thorejao. P2 for Che Easton. Lovely racing from Easton tonight. Sutters as well. P3, Kabinski P4, Langshadler P5, and then Hill in P6. Van der Hart. She's coming through the final corner now. Incident early on for Stein. He comes home P7. And then Adam Hans and Luke Clark both with penalties, but it looks like Luke Clark might be able to pull ahead. Will he? Oh, I'm not too sure. Adam Hans has gone into the wall. And Luke Clark does pull ahead. So Luke Clark 8th, Adam Hans 9th. But yeah, some top form driving tonight. Certainly from Che Easton and Will Sutters. On the top of their form. I think Che Easton tonight just had the edge over Sutters. I think you can't really get criticised for that one. Che Easton was just a bit stronger than Sutters tonight, but still brilliant driving from the both of them. But nothing to take away from that race win from Ruben Thorejao. Nobody really believed he could do it. We joked about him doing it, and he's done exactly that. Keeping the Constructors' title alive for Team Brown. I'm sure he's making his teammate very proud of him right now. But Dominic Kabinski as well, taking home his second win of the season in race 2. Just about finishing 4th place with the fastest lap in the end, 26.7. Good job from the pole. But yeah, that one went very quickly, quicker than usual. So cheers everyone who usually tunes in and watches, or anyone new who watched tonight as well. Hope you enjoyed it, because that was a really, really fun set of races to commentate over. those 3 races were some of the better ones we've seen this season. I think people who complained about the layout were certainly not expecting the racing to be of this high level. It's been a good one. And as I said at the very start of the stream, what we're lacking in numbers, we are going to receive in good racecraft, and that's happened. We may only have 9 drivers on the grid tonight, but that was some of the best racing we have seen all season. So good stuff from all 9 of the drivers. But as always, that is the end for tonight. We will see you the same time next week. I don't know what track we're doing. I really should educate myself on this stuff, but we'll see you the same time next week for more Polyphony Digital Trophy action.